My name is Skylar, and I need to tell you about the day I discovered that being forgotten by your own family is not an accident. It is a choice. My parents told me there would not be enough space for me at the annual family retreat. Then they invited 118 people, all 6 of my siblings, their families, in-laws, even cousins and friends. I did not say a word. I took action instead. 9 hours later, my mother was screaming at me through the phone. "So, how was the retreat?" My friend Luna asked like she was commenting on the weather. I blinked. "What retreat?" She laughed a little, then tilted her head. "Your sister posted about it. Looked amazing. Matching shirts and everything." She pulled out her phone, and there was a photo taken from above, a drone shot, obviously. A sprawling resort tucked against a lake. 118 people posed in tidy rows like someone was trying to break a family record. A banner stretched across the middle reading, 2025 Annual Family Retreat. I recognized every single face. My parents front and center. My 6 siblings, their partners, their kids, a few cousins I had not seen in years, even the in-laws. There was a color scheme. There were laminated name tags. Everyone except me. "Oh," I said lightly, forcing a smile. "Yeah, I was not there technically." Luna blinked. "Oh, got it." She started to say something else, but I waved it off with a small shrug and a sip of wine. It did not seem worth explaining. Not there. Not with 6 people chatting about oat milk and vacation deals across the table. Not with the shrimp skewer still going around like everything was normal. So I did what I have done for years. I smiled. I nodded. I laughed at a story I was not really listening to. I made eye contact, tilted my head. I was composed. My heart, on the other hand, was sprinting in circles like it had just remembered something urgent. 10 minutes later, I excused myself to the bathroom. The hallway light buzzed overhead. I closed the door, locked it quietly, and sat on the edge of the tub. It smelled like lavender soap and someone's hair gel. I opened my phone. Instagram. First, there were photos, dozens of them. Lakeside brunches, campfire nights, my brothers holding toddlers, my sisters in matching sundresses with retreat crew hats, one shot of my parents slow dancing under string lights. Someone had coordinated all this. A spreadsheet existed. This was not casual. I checked my sister's story. There was even a hashtag. Hashtag retreat to reconnect. Then I remembered the phone call a few weeks earlier. I had asked my mother offhandedly, "Hey, are we doing anything this year for the retreat?" She had sounded rushed. "We are just keeping it small," she said. "Not enough space for everyone." Not enough space, right? I had not thought much of it at the time. She said it so breezily, and I have been trained in that quiet middle child way not to push, not to take up space. So I did not ask follow-up questions. I did not ask for dates. I did not ask who was going. I just assumed I would hear if something was happening. I kept scrolling. 118 people. A group photo where my absence stood out like a missing tooth. And the stupidest part was this was not even new. When I was 10, there was a cousin's birthday party that got too full for me. When I was 15, I found out the family went to a lake house weekend. My name was not on the group message. And once, I remember helping pack favor bags for one of these retreats. I ironed the stupid t-shirts. And yet here I was still surprised, still hoping, I guess. The tears came fast, quiet, controlled. I did not sob. That would have felt too theatrical. No, these were the kind of tears that slip out before you even realize they have started. Not loud enough to hear, just enough to sting. There was a knock on the bathroom door. "You okay?" Luna's voice. I cleared my throat. "Yeah, stomach thing. Be right out." She paused. "Want me to get you anything?" "No, I am good, thanks." I did not move for another minute. Then I stood, washed my face, and tried to repair the damage. My mascara had smudged just slightly. I wiped under my eyes with a piece of toilet paper that shredded immediately and laughed a little at myself. In the mirror, I did not look angry or sad, just blank. I pulled my shoulders back, gave myself a practice smile. Not warm, not fake, just enough to pass. Then I stepped back out into the hallway like I had not just had my stomach drop through the floor. The dinner party was still in full swing. Someone was laughing. Someone was opening a bottle of wine. Someone was explaining the best way to roast cauliflower. I sat back down, accepted dessert, smiled, played normal. Nobody noticed. But something had shifted, something deep. I did not need to explain what they did. I did not even need to ask why. I did not know it at the time, but I was 24 hours away from doing something that would change everything. I used to think loneliness was something that happened when you had no one. Turns out it is much worse when you are surrounded by people, family even, and still feel like an uninvited guest in your own life. I am number 4 out of 7. That is not middle child, that is median. That is, we forgot she was in the car territory, which by the way did happen once. They remembered before leaving the parking lot, so I guess it does not count. My family is big, loud, and musical like some chaotic Von Trapp reboot, minus the Nazis, but still kind of oppressive. Everyone sings. Some play instruments. 2 have made careers in music. Family dinners came with harmonies. Talent shows were mandatory. Group performances were recorded and uploaded to YouTube. I am tone deaf. I did not know that for a while. Thought I was normal. I sang in the shower, hummed along in the car. Then one day around age 7, I joined in during a birthday chorus, and my older sister Raven winced like I had stabbed her with a flute. "Skylar, please," she said. "You are flattening everything." I did not know what that meant, but the laughter told me enough. It became a running gag. Skylar the noise polluter. Skylar the vibe killer. At one point, my brother made a chart ranking all 7 siblings by musical ability. I was not on it. The caption said, "Some things cannot be measured." I used to try and be funny. I thought that was the one other thing I could maybe do, but my jokes always landed flat. Dry humor does not hit well in a room full of people who think slapstick is the pinnacle of sophistication. They coined a term, Skylar joke, meant a joke no one laughs at. They even used it on each other. That was such a Skylar joke. They would groan even when I was not in the room. One time I asked my mother if she thought I was funny. She smiled like I had asked if I had wings. "You are clever," she said, "but you are not exactly entertaining." I stopped trying after that. At school, I would test out my humor with friends, but always pulled back, afraid of the silence. I learned to be quiet, helpful, pleasant. That worked better. Years later, I started writing things down. Funny thoughts, mostly bits of awkwardness turned into sketches, observations that made me laugh. I still did not think of myself as a funny person, just someone trying to figure out why nothing ever felt quite right. Then one day, I tried performing them. Nothing major. Local open mic night, tiny venue, bad lighting. A mic that crackled if you breathed wrong. But the crowd laughed. Not politely, not pity laughed. Actual surprise laughter. I got addicted immediately. It took months before I told anyone in my family. I had been performing semi-regularly at that point. Nothing viral, nothing major, but real people, real laughs, real sets. It felt like something. I still remember the day I mentioned it. We were sitting around after dinner, my dad retelling some story for the 3rd time, and everyone playing their usual roles. I cleared my throat. "So, I have been doing some comedy." They blinked at me. "Like performing?" My younger sister Phoenix asked, smirking. "Yes, stand up. A little club downtown." My brother Jasper actually laughed. "You? On stage?" "Well, it is not a stadium," I said. "It is mostly sticky floors and expired beer, but yes, a stage." They laughed again. Not in a cruel way. In the way you laugh when someone tells you they are training for space camp at 30. "You have never been funny," my mother said gently. "But that is sweet. It is good to have hobbies." I wanted to believe it was just surprise, that once they saw me perform, they would get it. They would be proud. Maybe even change how they saw me. Maybe the label of unfunny would finally get scratched off. I invited them. I even picked a good show. Friday night, decent turnout, a supportive crowd. I wore a new top, rehearsed my set to death, and got there early to claim seats. I kept glancing at the door as people filtered in. A couple from my last set waved. Someone complimented my shoes. The room filled slowly but steadily, and I kept checking the door right up until the host said my name. No one came. I scanned the room one last time as I walked up. Not a single familiar face. It hit me harder than I thought it would. Not like a punch, but like a vacuum. Like all the air in the room suddenly decided to be somewhere else. But I smiled. I opened with a throwaway line, got a laugh, found my rhythm, and I crushed it that night. Someone came up and told me they had not laughed like that in months. Another asked where they could find me online. I should have felt proud, but all I could think about was the empty seat in the third row I had reserved for my mother. Someone once said that the life of a comedian is making other people laugh while you are crying inside. That night, it felt especially true. After that, I stopped inviting them. Not out of spite, out of self-preservation. They never asked about it again. Occasionally, someone would mention a new song they had released or a relative who had booked a tour, and someone would say, "Skylar's got her little comedy thing." Like I was knitting hats for squirrels. I still smiled, nodded, laughed at their jokes, but inside something shifted. I stopped hoping they would show up. I stopped expecting the punchline to be anything but me. I did not plan to do it. That is the funny part, or the ironic part, or maybe just the human part. After I found out about the retreat, the one my entire family attended while I stayed home eating leftovers and pretending not to care, I went home, opened my laptop, and stared at a blinking cursor for 20 minutes. Then I wrote something. Not my usual kind of funny, not polished, just honest. The next night, I had a set at the club. I was going to do my usual material, awkward dating stories, my theory that oat milk is just cardboard in liquid form, and how people who say "let us circle back" deserve a special corner in hell. But when they called my name, I left the notes in my bag and walked on stage with something new. Most comedians, I said into the mic, get into stand-up because their families laughed at their jokes. I got into comedy because mine did not at all. They actually created a category for it. Skylar joke. You know, like a dad joke, but meaner and apparently contagious. People laughed, so I kept going. In my house, if you told a bad joke, it was not just a flop. It was a full-blown scandal. I should have had my own documentary. The Girl Who Was Not Funny. That one got applause. I talked about how my siblings could all sing, how even the toddlers in the family had rhythm, and how I was basically the designated audience member, the family hype woman minus the hype. And then I said it. Last week, my parents told me there was not enough space for me at the annual family retreat. Then they invited 118 people. That line got a full gasp laugh combo. My favorite reaction. I let it hang in the air a second longer. So yeah, I guess there was not enough space. Not at the resort, just in their idea of who belongs. I got off stage to a standing ovation, but I did not feel triumphant. I felt like I had just yanked out a splinter that had been festering under my skin for years. It hurt, but I could finally breathe. The next morning at 7:03 a.m., my phone rang. My mother's name on the screen. I let it ring. Then it rang again. And again. The fifth time I picked up, mostly out of morbid curiosity. She did not say hello. She did not pause. She went straight into screaming. "How dare you," she said. "Someone saw your little show. They told us what you said. You humiliated us." Not "are you okay?" Not even a half-hearted question about what I had been thinking. Just full-throttle, high-volume fury. "It was a 10-minute set," I said. I did not name names. "You did not have to," she snapped. "Everyone knows who we are. Your siblings have reputations to protect. You are dragging us through the mud just because you did not get your way." "You mean just because I was not invited?" I said dryly. "Or are we still pretending that did not happen?" She did not answer. "Do you know what your brother said?" she continued. "He said he might lose a gig over this. And your sister is mortified. She says people are calling her fake online." "So are you saying people believe me?" Silence. "I see." She hung up. I did not cry. I did not even feel angry. I felt something colder than that. Like I had just been told for the 100th time that their image was more important than me. By lunchtime, the group messages started blowing up. My sister sent a novel-length rant about how she had always supported me, which was hilarious considering she once told a boyfriend I was too emotionally flat to be funny. My brother Jasper sent me a voice memo that sounded like a press release wrapped in passive aggression. "I think it is really toxic that you are bringing family stuff into your brand. You have always struggled with boundaries, right? Boundaries. Like the one that said I should not come to a retreat with 118 people. Because I took up too much space. A cousin chimed in to say she thought I was exaggerating. It was probably just a misunderstanding. She said it like I had misread an accidental mass invitation to everyone but me. One aunt said she was praying for me. Another message to say I had broken my mother's heart. And here is the thing. Part of me wanted to explain, to clarify, to say, hey, I was not trying to hurt anyone. I was just trying to finally tell the truth. But the truth is, they were not asking for clarification. They were asking me to shut up, to play the quiet middle child who takes the hit and keeps the peace. And I was tired. That night, I filmed a video. It was not a stand-up set. It was not a sketch. It was just me sitting on my couch in a hoodie, holding a mug I was not drinking from. Hi, I said. So I guess some of you have seen my latest set, and apparently it upset some people. I paused, took a breath. Here is the thing. If your family tells you your jokes are not funny for 20 years, and then one night, hundreds of strangers laugh until they cry, you are allowed to talk about it. You are allowed to heal however you need to. I did not get loud. I did not name anyone. I did not need to. I just told the truth. I used to think I was the least funny person in the world because my family said so. And then I stepped on stage and people laughed at me, with me for me. And I realized I was not unfunny. I just was not their kind of funny. And maybe that is okay. I looked into the camera. Also, I added, if you throw a 118-person retreat and say there is no space for your daughter, maybe do not act shocked when she talks about it. I posted it, closed my laptop, and for the first time in a long time, I did not feel like I needed to brace for someone else's reaction. I just sat there and waited. The video did not just land, it detonated. I posted it at midnight and figured it might get a few thousand views, maybe even go a little viral. I underestimated people's appetite for dry, unflinching honesty delivered in a hoodie. By noon, it had over 300,000 views. By 6 p.m., I was trending under the hashtag #SkylarSaidIt. By the next morning, it hit 500,000. And by the time I opened my front door to grab coffee, there they were. My parents, two of my siblings, standing on my porch like I was the final boss in a video game they never bothered to level up for. You need to take it down, my father said without a hello. He was red-faced. My mother was tight-lipped and visibly vibrating. My brother Jasper stood with his arms crossed like he was posing for a disciplinary poster. You have humiliated this family, my mother said. You made us a joke. I did not make you a joke, I said, calm as a grave. You did. I just put it in a punchline. Jasper stepped forward. You cannot just post things like that without consequences. It is defamatory. You did not seem to mind when I invited you to my shows and nobody showed up, I replied. Now suddenly you are subscribers. We came here to reason with you, my father said, glancing toward the neighbor's yard. Can we come in? No, I said flat. And just a heads up, if you start yelling, I will film you and I will post it. They blinked like I had slapped them. You are threatening your own family? My mother gasped. No, I said. I am protecting myself from the same people who cut me out of a 118-person retreat, and then got mad when I mentioned it on stage. Jasper muttered something under his breath. I raised my phone and opened the camera. They backed off like I had brandished a weapon. Bye now, I said and shut the door. They stood there for a few more seconds. I watched from the peephole. My mother looked like she wanted to scream. My father looked like he wanted to disappear. And Jasper looked like he wanted to sue someone, which turned out to be prophetic because 3 days later I got a legal letter. Well, legalish. Typed in Times New Roman with weird spacing and more typos than a phishing scam. Sent via email with the subject line Urgent Family Concern. It was from Jasper. Apparently, he decided to draft a cease and desist letter demanding I take the video down immediately or face legal repercussions for defamation, which he spelled deformationation. I did not even know whether to be insulted or impressed. To be clear, Jasper does have a law degree, but it is in international trade law, and he currently works in corporate compliance for a shipping company. The most aggressive thing he has ever sued is probably a broken office chair. I did not respond to the letter. I made a video instead. I did not name him. I did not show the actual document. I just read a totally fictional cease and desist letter with comical typos and added dramatic music for flair. I have been asked to remove my video, I said in voiceover, because apparently pointing out that I was not invited to my own family's retreat is now a federal crime. Somewhere the First Amendment is weeping. The video went up on a Thursday. By Friday, I had 900,000 views and 3 interview requests. People loved it, especially the deadpan delivery and the fake signature I read aloud. Respectfully yours, Jasper the Enforcer. It was perfect. On Saturday, I blocked everyone. All of them. I had held out hope that maybe, just maybe, someone in the family would reach out and say, "Hey, we messed up," or "I see you now." But no. The messages were all about damage control, about optics, about embarrassment. No one said sorry. No one asked how I felt. So I gave them the silence they never earned, but definitely deserved. Group chats exited. Facebook locked. Instagram archived. Even Spotify scrubbed of every playlist we had ever shared. My mother sent me one final message before she got blocked. "You have made a laughingstock of your own family. I hope you are proud." And the thing is, I was not proud. Not exactly. But I was not ashamed either. I was free. The fallout was ugly. Some of my siblings who work in music started losing small contracts. Apparently, people did not want to be associated with the family being dragged in the public eye, which is ironic because suddenly they were also getting podcast invites. Every minor influencer with a podcast titled "Let Us Talk About It," or "Raw and Real," wanted them on to discuss growing up with Skylar. A few accepted. They did not use my name directly, but let us just say when your brother goes on a podcast called Family First, and says, "Some people just thrive on playing the victim," it is not exactly a mystery who he means. Meanwhile, YouTubers did what YouTubers do best. They dug. Someone found my mother's Facebook. Another found the resort name on a cousin's tagged photo and connected the dots. Soon, a few creators started reaching out to the family. One even showed up at their house to ask for comment. 2 weeks later, my parents sold the house. The official reason was downsizing, but we both know better. They moved to another town quietly. One of my sisters deleted her social media. Another posted a vague statement about taking a break from public life. Me? I did not say a word. I did not celebrate. I did not throw a party. I just kept making videos. Not about them, at least not directly. Just stories, observations, the kind of things that made people feel seen, made them laugh. And when I looked at the comments, I saw something I never got growing up. Relatable. Thanks for saying what I could not. I thought I was the only one. And for the first time, I felt not alone, not unwanted, not a Skylar joke. Just Skylar. And that was enough. Fast forward a year. I am still no contact with my family. And honestly, I do not miss the noise. I have got real friends now. People who laugh with me, not at me. People who see me. And the comedy? It took off. I quit my day job, started touring, and for the first time, I wake up excited about what I do. People come up to me after shows and say, "I thought it was just me." It never is. Sometimes I still wonder, did I do the right thing, or did I go too far? But then I remember that drone photo. 118 people. Everyone except me. And I remember that I am not responsible for their shame. I am only responsible for my truth. If you made it this far, thank you for listening to my story. Sometimes the people who are supposed to love us the most are the ones who make us feel the smallest. But your voice matters. Your truth matters. You matter. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories like this one. Hit that notification bell. And let me know in the comments if you have ever felt invisible in your own family. You are not alone, and your story deserves to be heard.